Africa is not poor. We have been made to believe we are poor. But the truth is, Africa is the richest continent on earth.
Picture a dusty road stretching through a quiet corner of the world. A country that rarely makes headlines. There were no grand speeches, no red carpets or visits from foreign dignitaries. Just a new sign and a toll booth standing quietly where there had been nothing before. That's how change started in Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation in West Africa. But this isn't just about roads or toll fees. It's about a nation rising up, taking control of its future and proving what's possible. 3 toll stations, Burkina and Ouagadougou, suddenly stood tall in places long overlooked. These weren't funded by foreign aid or international loans. They were built by the people of Burkina Faso themselves during hard times, marked by sanctions, conflict, and poverty. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, this is the story of a nation that stopped waiting for help and began to build with its own hands. Step by step, we'll see how these toll booths became more than just checkpoints. They became symbols of hope, pride, and a new direction for Africa. It all started with the soft stir of dust on a forgotten highway. No fanfare, no press conferences, no diplomats cutting ribbons. Just one toll booth quietly rising up in Burkina, right on National Route 4. Then another in Tintalou, and a third in Ouagadougou. 3 sleek modern toll stations suddenly appeared in a country many still label as poor or unstable. But these weren't ordinary toll gates. They featured clean, well-marked lanes, glass panel, windows, and electronic systems that scanned license plates and printed receipts. Drivers slowed down not just to pay but to look, to take it in. Some were stunned. Others assumed it was temporary, something flashy that would vanish in weeks. But they were wrong. The stations were real. Receipts printed, traffic moved smoothly, and workers showed up every day. This wasn't a typical road upgrade. It marked the quiet start of a shift in how the world would begin to view Burkina Faso. The first booth in Burkina drew everyone's attention. It didn't arrive with rumors or political promises, but with solid, visible structure. 6 open lanes, digital payments, a sign that boldly read Poste de Péage de Burkina. No foreign sponsor logos, no flags from overseas. Just Burkina Faso owning what it built. Soon Tintalou and Ouagadougou followed, just as efficient and forward-looking. These weren't temporary setups built for a quick PR win. They were sharp, professional, and built to last for the people. Drivers drove through in disbelief, not only because of how new the booths looked but because of what they represented. A country seizing control of its own future. To grasp why these toll stations matter so much, you need to understand a little about Burkina Faso. It's a small landlocked nation in West Africa. Burkina Faso is surrounded by 6 neighboring countries: Mali, Niger, Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Côte d'Ivoire. With no access to the sea, it's cut off from direct trade by water. Global poverty rankings place it among the world's poorest nations, with many of its 20 million citizens surviving on just a few dollars each day. For years, the country has faced overwhelming challenges: terrorist threats in the north, economic sanctions from regional groups like the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and separation from international systems it once depended on. To much of the outside world, Burkina Faso has long been labeled a place of instability, dysfunction, and poverty. A country that couldn't move forward. For decades, the message to Burkina Faso was simple: wait. Wait for international aid to arrive. Wait for loans to build its roads and schools. Wait for approval before taking steps toward progress. But the waiting didn't bring results. It didn't repair the broken roads that made everyday travel risky. It didn't help farmers get produce to markets before it spoiled. It didn't make it easier for children to get to class or for emergency vehicles to reach those in need. The world wasn't paying close attention to Burkina Faso. Most news coverage focused on the problems, not the possibilities. But while few were watching, something powerful began to unfold. When Captain Ibrahim Traore came to power in 2022, during a period of crisis, Burkina Faso made a bold decision. It would stop waiting. It would start acting. Rather than pleading for assistance, the nation picked up the tools and started building for itself. The toll booths in Burkina, Tintalou, and Ouagadougou are living proof. They represent a new chapter where the country shapes its own future. What sets these toll stations apart? They weren't funded by foreign loans. In many parts of Africa, large infrastructure projects, like highways, hospitals, or bridges, come with strings attached. Often they're financed by debt from global lenders, such as the World Bank or the IMF, or backed by faraway governments from Europe or Asia. These deals usually come with conditions: high interest rates or strict rules about how the money should be used, and what political or economic changes must follow. Sometimes when a new bridge appears, it comes with a plaque honoring a foreign nation. A hospital may open its doors, but the loans behind it leave, debts that last for generations. And when things fall apart, when the roads crack or the hospital needs maintenance, the donors are often long gone, leaving the country to manage on its own. Burkina Faso chose a different path. These toll booths weren't financed by overseas aid or foreign credit. They were fully funded by Burkina Faso's own resources and managed through a local body known as the Fonds Special Routier du Burkina Faso, the country's special road fund. Led by Theodore Ouedraogo, the fund gathers revenue from toll payments and reinvests it in road upkeep and improvements across the nation. There were no international consultants flying in with instructions. No flags from distant nations fluttering over the site. No shiny plaques giving credit to countries halfway around the world. Just Burkina Faso building for itself. That matters because it means real independence. For too long, Africa's development has come with foreign fingerprints. Roads named after donors. Schools branded with the logos of faraway governments. But in Burkina Faso, these toll stations are fully theirs. They're a powerful symbol of a country, taking ownership of its future, without needing to repay anyone. The money stays here, the work stays here, and so does the pride. At the center of this transformation is Captain Ibrahim Traore, the country's current leader. He stepped into power in 2022, at a moment marked by instability, terrorist threats and sanctions. Most leaders would have waited for stability or for outside support. They might have made speeches, flown to international summits, and asked for loans. But Traore took another route. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't hold off until the situation was ideal. He started building immediately, while others were preparing endless reports and scheduling meetings with donors. Traore sent workers to the field, while international teams discussed frameworks and funding timelines. His crews were pouring concrete. This isn't the type of leadership that makes headlines, but it's the kind that gets things done. Traore understood something important. A country doesn't need to wait for peace to start rebuilding. If you wait for the perfect moment, nothing ever happens. So he acted, and now the evidence stands right there on the highways. 3 functioning modern toll stations up and running, proving that Burkina Faso is capable of doing it on its own. What Traore did wasn't just a project, it was a statement. He didn't just speak about independence. He proved it. He didn't just talk about fixing roads, he actually built them. He didn't wait for global recognition. He made the world pay attention to Burkina Faso. And he did all of this in the middle of chaos, with terrorism, sanctions, and economic pressure closing in from every direction. That's what makes this story remarkable. It's not about waiting for perfect timing. It's about making your own moment. To grasp the scale of this change, you need to look back at Burkina Faso's past. For years, its roads told a grim story. They were littered with potholes cracked before they were even completed, or swept away by the first seasonal rains. People didn't just avoid bad pavement, they avoided broken promises too. Politicians would announce new road projects with big events. There'd be speeches, banners, ribbon cuttings. The media would show up. The president would smile for the cameras and the crowds would clap. But soon after, the bulldozers would vanish, the workers would disappear, and the roads would remain unfinished. Grass would reclaim the gravel, and the hope for better roads would fade once again. Toll booths, when they existed, were often little more than concrete shacks or makeshift roadblocks. You might see a man sitting at a table collecting money by hand. No receipts, no record, no real system to track where the money was going. People paid, but the roads remained broken. Confidence in the system eroded. Some joked that the tolls collected more cash than the roads were ever worth. Across the continent, toll systems have struggled. Not because tolls are a bad idea, but because they were often mismanaged or plagued by corruption. Funds disappeared and maintenance was forgotten. Citizens grew tired of grand promises that never turned into reality. They watched ribbon-cutting ceremonies and listened to speeches about highways that never got built. In time, roads became symbols not of progress, but of a system that looked good in theory, but left people stuck in the same old problems. And this story wasn't unique to Burkina Faso. This wasn't just Burkina Faso's story. It was the story of many African nations. For decades, development across the continent was closely linked to foreign money. A new bridge might go up, but it would be wrapped in a foreign flag. A hospital might open, but the country would carry the debt for generations. Leaders would launch new projects with big celebrations. But time and again, the actual results fell short. People in Burkina Faso had grown tired of waiting, tired of promises, tired of roads that led nowhere. But something has shifted in Burkina Faso. Things are changing. The toll stations in Butena Tintalou and Kotadougou are writing a new chapter. These aren't just toll booths, they're modern, durable, and built with intention. Each one features cleanly marked lanes, large glass windows, and electronic systems that ensure things run efficiently and fairly. Every time a vehicle passes through the system tracks it in real time. It automatically calculates the correct toll, based on the vehicle type, whether it's a car, a bus, or a truck, and prints a receipt on the spot. All of this data is uploaded into a national database, eliminating the chance for funds to go missing. Gone are the days of scribbled notebooks and vanishing cash. Now everything is digital, traceable, and accountable. The Burkina station on National Route 4 was the first to go live, with 6 lanes and systems designed to handle a range of vehicle types. It sets the standard. Digital payments are accepted and above. The booth's a sign reads Poste de Péage de Burkina. No foreign sponsors, no borrowed flags, just Burkina Faso proudly claiming what it built. Tintaloo and Kotadougou followed soon after, each one just as modern and well-planned. These aren't temporary stops set up for a photo op. They're solid, serious infrastructure built for long-term use. And when drivers pass through, they're not just paying a toll. People see a system that actually works, and it makes them proud. They see well-marked lanes, hear the quiet beep of scanners, and hold a printed receipt in their hand, proof that their payment is going somewhere that matters. Let's take a closer look at the tech powering these toll stations, because it's a key reason why they stand out. Each station is equipped with smart systems that do much more than just collect tolls. They monitor traffic live, so if a route starts getting crowded, the system knows. They automatically sort vehicles by type, charging less for cars and more. For bigger vehicles like trucks, receipts are printed instantly, giving every driver clear documentation. All of this feeds into a centralized national database, meaning every cent is tracked. That's a huge shift from the way things used to be, when toll money would often disappear without a trace. Back then, a toll collector might quietly keep a portion, or the funds would vanish somewhere inside a government office with no one able to explain where it went. But now, with digital payments and real-time tracking, it's much harder for money to slip through the cracks. The system is almost boring in how clean and honest it is, and that's exactly what makes it so effective. This isn't just about having cool technology. It's about building trust. Drivers know their payments are going toward maintaining the roads, not lining someone's pocket. And if a road needs repair or a new safety barrier, the system can flag it so the issue gets fixed. What makes it even more remarkable is that the entire system is run by Burkinabé citizens. No foreign firms were brought in to build or manage the technology. Local engineers, workers, and financial teams are behind everything. They were trained to operate the equipment, keep the systems running, and audit the financials. That's what true independence looks like, not just owning the physical infrastructure, but having the skills and knowledge to manage it yourself. This system is built to last because it's built and run by the very people who rely on it every day. At the core of this system is the Fonds Spécial Routier du Burkina Faso, the Road Special Fund led by Theodore Ouedraogo. This fund is responsible for collecting toll revenue and putting it directly into the upkeep and improvement of the country's roads. It's managed locally. There are no flashy promotions, no foreign consultants flown in, just a steady, honest effort to get things done the right way. The fund ensures that the money stays within the country, which means the responsibility does too. That marks a major change from the past, when toll operations were often connected to mismanagement. In many African nations, people pay tolls, yet the roads still fall apart. Funds vanish and no one has answers. But in Burkina Faso, that's starting to change. The Road Special Fund has brought order and fairness to the process. Tolls are collected properly. The data is recorded, and the funds go back where they belong, into fixing roads, sealing potholes, adding safety rails, upgrading signs, and maintaining smooth highways. It's a system that works because it's rooted in transparency, not dependence. What's more, it's sustainable. It doesn't count on foreign lenders or outside donors who might withdraw support when things get tough. Instead, it relies on everyday drivers, those who use the roads to keep the system going. If you're on the road, you help pay for it. And if you help pay for it, you deserve better roads. It's a straightforward idea, but a powerful one, because it puts control back in the hands of Burkina Faso. The fund isn't just about finances. It's about building a sense of trust, shared responsibility, and national pride. And that leads to a question: why focus on toll stations now? After all, Burkina Faso is still facing massive challenges. Terrorism continues in the north. Prices are rising due to inflation. Sanctions from groups like ECOWAS have taken a toll. And the country is cut off from many of the global institutions it once relied on. Why not wait for a better moment, when things are more stable, when the skies are clear? The answer is simple. Captain Traore and his government believe that dignity doesn't wait. A country can't fight for true independence with speeches or military parades alone. If the roads are in ruins, if farmers can't bring their harvest to market, if students can't make it to school, then independence is just a word. Traore's team didn't wait for the perfect moment. They started building in the middle of the storm. Because real leadership doesn't sit around hoping for calm, it creates it. These toll stations are more than infrastructure. They're a message. Burkina Faso is done waiting for a handout. It's choosing to stand on its own. And that's a powerful act, especially in a region where progress is often tied to foreign loans and outside approval. By moving forward during crisis, Burkina Faso is proving that progress doesn't need permission. It needs action. Now picture a farmer in Butena. Let's call her Isarta. For years she struggled just to get her tomatoes to the capital Ouagadougou. The roads were so bad her truck would get stuck. The tomatoes would get bruised, spoiled, or arrive too late to sell. She'd lose money and her family would go to bed hungry. But now with the new toll station and smoother roads, her tomatoes arrive fresh. She pays a small toll, but she knows exactly where that money goes. For her, the toll booth isn't just a place to pay. It's a sign that her country is finally working with her, not against her. These stations aren't just about collecting tolls. They're about collecting accountability. For too long, governance across Africa has been defined by elections or checkpoints, not by real service. But these toll stations are different. They show a government that's starting to serve its people. In places like Butena Tintalou and Kotadougou, locals are already noticing the change. Roads are improving. Bribe-taking checkpoints are disappearing. Transport is becoming more reliable. Farmers like Isarta can sell their crops before they spoil. Traders save on delivery costs, helping businesses thrive and keeping prices fair. And students, they're spending more time in class, less time trekking, dusty roads, and more time thinking about their future. That's what makes these toll stations a quiet revolution. These toll stations aren't just infrastructure. They represent a new mindset. They show that Burkina Faso can plan, build, and run its own systems without outside help. They remind us that sovereignty isn't just about flying a flag or giving a speech. It's about maintaining roads without needing to call Paris or Washington. It's about collecting funds that serve the people, not foreign creditors. And it's happening right now, not someday after another wave of promises. Think about a driver named Musa, who hauls goods between Ouagadougou and Bobo Dioulasso. Not long ago, Musa dreaded the trip. The roads were a mess, full of holes, and every few kilometers someone would stop him for a bribe. The trip took hours longer than it should have, and the bribes cut deep into his earnings. Now, thanks to the new toll stations, Musa's trip is faster and smoother. The roads are in better shape. The corrupt checkpoints are gone. And the tolls, they're fair. Every payment comes with a receipt, and Musa knows that the money is going right back into maintaining the roads. To him, the toll stations are more than just payment points. They're signs that something real is changing. But when these stations opened, the world didn't celebrate. There were no breaking news stories, no big features on international TV. Why? Because the world didn't expect this from Burkina Faso. It's easier to keep telling stories of poverty and chaos. It fits the outdated narrative that Africa can't build for itself. But what happens when a country under sanctions, facing conflict, outbuilds nations at peace? What happens when a landlocked country like Burkina Faso creates toll stations that outperform those in wealthier places? The global silence isn't confusion, it's disbelief. These booths don't fit the image of a failing or dependent country. They prove that Burkina Faso isn't waiting for help. It's helping itself. And that shakes people. Because if Burkina Faso can build this without loans or foreign hands, what else is possible? What else could the rest of Africa do? The world might not be ready to face that question. But Burkina Faso is already answering it, one toll station at a time. To understand how massive this shift really is, just compare Burkina Faso with other African countries. In many places, toll roads exist, but they come with problems. Take Nigeria, for example. Some toll gates there have come under fire for mismanagement. Drivers still pay, but the roads remain in poor condition, and no one can clearly say where the money ends up. In Kenya, a major highway project was funded through foreign loans, but the resulting debt has placed serious strain on the economy. Now the government struggles to maintain those roads without going further into debt. In South Africa, toll roads are modern and efficient, but they're often controlled by private companies, and the tolls are too expensive for everyday people. Burkina Faso, however, is doing things differently. Its toll stations are fully government-owned and managed. No foreign companies, no external loans. The fees are modest, and every franc collected goes directly into the road special fund, a system built on transparency and accountability. The technology is straightforward but highly effective, and it's operated by Burkinabé staff, not foreign contractors. This model is something other African countries could learn from, a way to build infrastructure without sacrificing the future. Take Ghana, Burkina Faso's neighbor. Ghana once had toll roads too, but many were shut down in 2021 due to widespread corruption and public frustration. The money collected often didn't go toward road repairs, leaving drivers angry and roads in disrepair. Burkina Faso took that lesson seriously. Its toll stations run on digital systems that track every transaction. There are no shadowy intermediaries or secret accounts. Everything is open and the impact is clear, smoother highways, fewer bribe stops, and a growing sense of public trust, something that's still rare in many toll systems across Africa. And it's not just theory, it's already improving lives. Communities around Burkina Faso and Ouagadougou are seeing better roads and more reliable transport. Farmers can reach markets faster, reducing waste. Traders save on transport costs, helping businesses grow and keeping prices down for consumers. Students are also benefiting. Picture a student named Fatima Matera from a village near Tintalou. Every day she used to walk 5 kilometers to school because the roads were too rough for buses. When it rained or when dust storms blew through, she often missed class. But now, thanks to the new toll station and better roads, a bus comes to her village daily. Fatima makes it to school on time, full of energy and focus. She dreams of becoming a doctor, and this small change is helping her move toward that dream. Not just by making her trip easier, but by proving that her country is capable of building great things. These changes may seem small, but they're powerful. They make people feel seen. They make people believe that their country is finally working for them. When drivers pass through these toll stations, they're not just paying a fee. They're witnessing a system that delivers. Receipts are printed. Traffic moves. Roads improve. It might seem like a small change, but it feels huge. Because it proves what's possible when a nation believes in itself. For the first time, people feel like they're part of something bigger. They're not just paying tolls, they're investing in their country's future. And that kind of pride can't be bought with foreign loans. It has to be earned through effort, through action, and through visible results. The toll stations in Burkina Faso and Ouagadougou aren't the final destination. They're just the first step. They're proof that Burkina Faso can build, manage, and sustain systems on its own. They show that even in hard times, a nation can be independent. And now they're setting a new standard for what's possible across the continent. Over time, these toll stations could link regions that have been isolated for years. They could open new trade routes, helping Burkina Faso sell goods to neighbors like Mali and Ghana. They could bring safer roads for ambulances, quicker access for buses, and easier travel to schools and hospitals. They're already creating jobs not just in construction, but in tech, logistics, engineering, and finance. But the real shift isn't only happening on the roads. It's happening in people's minds. These toll stations are living proof that Burkina Faso doesn't have to ask for its future, it can build it. And that idea is catching on. Across Africa, people are paying attention. Leaders are watching. Young people are starting to ask, if Burkina Faso can do it, why can't we? This is how real change begins, not with noise or promises, but with quiet, persistent action. With steel, glass, and sensors. With a toll booth that works. Imagine what the future could look like: roads connecting every corner of Burkina Faso. Farmers in far-off villages bringing their crops to urban markets. Kids in rural areas riding buses to school instead of walking for hours. Doctors reaching patients faster, saving lives. Businesses growing, creating jobs, and lifting families out of poverty. That's not just a dream, it's a roadmap. And the toll stations are the foundation. They prove that Burkina Faso can start small and build something big, 1 kilometer at a time. These toll stations are more than infrastructure. They are a message to Africa. They say, you don't need to wait for someone else's permission. You don't have to borrow what you can't repay. You don't have to follow someone else's script. You can plan. You can build. You can run your systems. You can own your future. And now other countries are starting to listen. Citizens are beginning to expect more. The old excuses, poverty, instability, dependence, are starting to fall apart. Burkina Faso is proving that all it really takes to move forward is the will to start. This is the future Africa has dreamed about for generations. And now it's no longer just a vision, it's happening. You can see it in the smooth lanes of Burkina. You can feel it in the printed receipts at Tintalou. You can hear it in the steady rhythm of traffic flowing through Ouagadougou. And above it all, the flag of Burkina Faso waves not over foreign built projects but over toll stations, built by local hands with local money for local people. This is real sovereignty. You can see it, you can touch it, you can drive on it, and this is only the beginning. Across Africa, other nations are paying attention. In Mali, where road networks face similar struggles, citizens are discussing Burkina Faso's approach. In Niger, another landlocked country under pressure from sanctions, people are asking, why not us? In Ghana, where tolls were removed due to corruption, there's talk of bringing them back with a system modeled after Burkina Faso's transparent, homegrown, and effective. This is how transformation spreads not through headlines but through proof. Proof that speaks for itself. These toll booths represent more than just physical infrastructure. They reflect a deeper shift in how power is understood. For too long, power in Africa has been measured by displays of force, grand speeches or election wins. But in Burkina Faso, power looks different now. It's quieter. It's steadier. It's a working toll station staffed by local citizens, built by their own efforts, serving their own people. It's a system that tracks every penny and puts it to work for the people. There are no foreign consultants, no international loans, no outside rules. Just confidence in a process where receipts print in Ouagadougou, not in Paris or London. And that's why this shift feels uncomfortable to the rest of the world. It disrupts the old narrative. It's easier to talk about African progress when it's tied to dependence. When every new road carries a foreign flag or every hospital opens with borrowed money. But when a nation like Burkina Faso steps outside that script, it forces everyone to rethink what's truly possible. If a country under sanctions, under threat, and under immense pressure can build modern toll stations, what else could it build? And if Burkina Faso can do it, what's stopping the rest of Africa? Because this story isn't just about one nation. It's about a new path forward for the entire continent. For too long, Africa has been told it needs saving, told to wait for loans follow, foreign strategies, and accept contracts that benefit outsiders more than citizens. But Burkina Faso is offering a different story, one rooted in local resources, community ownership, and true independence. It's proving that sovereignty isn't just a concept, it's action. It's a toll booth that prints receipts, a road that stays paved, a system that actually serves its people. To the people of Burkina Faso, these toll stations are more than checkpoints. They're a point of pride. Imagine being a farmer like Isarta whose tomatoes now reach the city fresh because the roads are finally reliable. Imagine being a driver like Musa who no longer has to bribe his way past crooked checkpoints. Or a student like Fatima who gets to school on time because buses now make it to her village. These aren't small changes. They're life-changing. They're restoring dignity one journey at a time. And most of all, these toll stations are waking up a sense of ownership. Burkinabé citizens are beginning to feel like their country is finally working for them. When they drive through these booths, they think, this is ours. We built this. No one handed it to us. We did it ourselves. And that kind of pride isn't something you can buy with loans or donations. It's earned with effort, with results, and with action. And that's exactly what Burkina Faso is delivering. These toll stations are a beacon of hope, a sign that the future can look different. That progress doesn't always need outside permission. That leadership can come from within. But they're also a message to Burkina Faso's youth. More than half the country is under the age of 25, and they've grown up hearing promises that were never fulfilled, watching roads fall apart and feeling ignored by the world. But now they're seeing something new. Toll stations that function, roads that last, a government that delivers, a country that's finally building its own future without waiting for anyone else. This is a message to the youth of Burkina Faso and to young people all across Africa. You don't have to wait for someone else to fix your country. You don't need to depend on foreign money or borrowed ideas. You can build, you can create, you can lead. These toll stations prove that. They're proof that a small landlocked country facing serious challenges can still achieve something remarkable. And they show that the future belongs not to those who wait, but to those who act. Picture a young engineer named Kofi. He helped set up the electronic systems at the Ouagadougou toll station. He studied hard, dreamed of doing something meaningful but never imagined he'd get to work on a project like this in his own homeland. Now every day Kofi passes by that toll station and sees more than concrete and wires. He sees a future that he helped shape. He's not just installing equipment, he's building a nation's future. Burkina Faso's toll stations send a clear message to the world. They challenge the idea that African countries can't develop on their own. They challenge the outdated belief that Africa is too poor, too unstable, or too dependent to build real infrastructure. They challenge the global systems that for decades have tied development to debt. And they challenge African leaders to stop waiting and start building. The world isn't used to this kind of story. It's used to seeing Africa wait for aid, for approval, for outside solutions. But Burkina Faso isn't waiting anymore. It's building. And that makes people uncomfortable because it proves the old excuses don't hold up. If Burkina Faso can build modern toll stations without loans from abroad, what else is possible? What else could Africa achieve? The answer is simple: anything it sets its sights on. The toll stations in Butena Tintalou and Ouagadougou are just the beginning. They're not the whole story. They're the first chapter. They show what can happen when a country decides to act instead of wait. One day these toll stations could connect regions long divided. They could unlock trade routes helping Burkina Faso share its goods with Mali, Ghana, and beyond. They could mean quicker routes for emergency vehicles, better school access, and stronger local economies. And they could open doors for countless skilled workers, from engineers to accountants to technicians, who help keep the system running. But the biggest change isn't in the roads. It's in the mindset. These toll stations prove that Burkina Faso doesn't have to ask for its future. It can build it. And that belief, that power is spreading. People across Africa are watching. Leaders are starting to notice. And young people are asking, if they can do it, why can't we? This is how a revolution begins. Not with noise, not with speeches, but with quiet, determined effort. With steel, with glass, with data, with a toll booth that works. The road ahead is long, but it's already being paved with possibility. Burkina Faso's toll stations are proof that the future is already moving. They show that Africa